Hello, spooky crew. Our tote bag drawing is officially closed, and we just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who entered. We are so grateful for the love and the support, and we have loved reading your reviews. Missed the tote? No worries. We're still sending out high-quality vinyl stickers while supplies last. Just email us proof of your rating and review along with your mailing address to thespookydarlings@gmail.com, and we'll get one headed your way. Quick promise, your address is only for mailing the sticker. No emails, no selling info, no funny business, just spooky gratitude. Thanks again for supporting the show. You are the reason we do this.
You're listening to the Spooky Darlings podcast, where the shadows never stay quiet for long, and neither do we. I'm Emily.
I'm Haley.
And I'm Nettie.
And today, Haley is leading us on a wild and crazy journey.
Our first cult, which I am so excited about. So for those that need it, trigger warning for violence against children and sexual abuse against women and children. So listen with discretion, and if needed, we will catch you next time. So we are covering the Alamo Christian Foundation, and my main sources for this are Whispering in the Daylight by Debbie Shriver and the documentary Ministry of Evil, The Twisted Cult of Tony Alamo. And then my other sources will be in our show notes. So April 25th, 1925, Edith Opel enters this world in Alma, Arkansas. She had a relatively normal childhood in that small town, and her family moves and settles in Dyer, Arkansas, just a few miles away. She grew up with dreams of becoming a star in Hollywood, as many young girls do. And so not so normal. At 14, she married and had a baby boy at age 15. And at age 16, she got divorced. So it is 1941. She is divorced at 16, and her son is not mentioned from here on. So Edith moves to California and changes her name to Susan Fleetwood. And nothing becomes of her attempts at stardom, or in the way that she imagined that they would. She meets a man, Saul Lipowitz, and converts to evangelical Christianity. In 1950, she gives birth to a daughter, and we'll just call her Chris. Her name is her full name is spelled a little weird, and I'm not sure how to say it. So we're just gonna go by Chris.
Okay.
Saul and Susan split up. Susan and Chris end up living in a studio apartment. They're very poor, living off of what they call mystery cans, which is just cans with no label. And so then you open it and you eat what's inside.
It's spooky.
Yeah.
It's a spooky adventure.
Sometimes there's a snake inside.
Sometimes it's not peanuts.
Is it like stores would give discounts to unlabeled food? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like a can that like the label falls off before they can put it on the shelf. You know what I mean?
And they're like, let's just mark this down and hope it's edible.
Yeah. So Susan works as a B-girl, which is where you sit at a bar, you look pretty, men buy you drinks, and the bartenders know to, instead of serve you a shot of whiskey, they serve you some iced tea. So it's the same color, right? And so Chris said that her mother had a way of walking into a room where all eyes were on her. She commanded attention and like admiration, and people just kind of wanted to listen to her. And Chris recalls, Nettie, this is where the quotes come in.
Okay.
I'll just point to you
Okay.
when it's time. So Chris recalls her mother would say,
"Put on a dress. We're going to do a church."
and that entailed going to a church, and during the service, Susan would stand at some point and say,
"I have a message from the Lord, and I need to speak."
And so Susan would give a speech, and Chris would sing along with her. And Susan would lie about doing missionary work in Mexico. And church members would pass what is called a love offering. And then Susan and Chris would leave with the money, never going on to do a service mission, right?
Oh, so these people were believing they were giving them money that was going to be used like for poor people in Mexico
for like going. I remember my friends going on those service missions and like building houses or just like going and doing just service to a community in need.
Like, you're welcome, Mexico. We're bringing in a bunch of unskilled teenagers to come build a school for you.
And as we know,
charity
teenagers are great. So this leaves us in the year 1959. Susan is 34. Chris is 9. So now we're going to rewind to 1934. And Bernie Lazar Hoffman is born September 20th in 1934 in Joplin, Missouri. His parents are immigrants from Romania, and it's unclear what year Bernie moved to California, but he went to try and be a music success, as many do, and he found it more lucrative to be a promoter. And he tries out different names, such as Marcus Abad or Mark Hoffman. And
he tried the name Mark Hoffman?
He tried the name Mark Hoffman.
For those of you that don't know, that's Mark Hoffman was the guy that did
the guy that wrote the salamander letters?
Yes, the salamander letters. So he bombed a bunch of people in Utah and forged documents and tried to sell them to the leaders of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
He did sell them.
Well, he sold some, and then he tried to sell others, and then they started to like get onto him that he was perhaps a fraud and indeed a fraud. Anyways, total side topic, but that's just interesting.
We should do that sometime, and I nominate one of you. So he gets married, and with his marriages being short-lived, he married Joanne Dill and had 2 boys and a girl. That marriage lasted 3 years. He also married a Helen Hagen, had 1 boy together, and that marriage, I believe, lasted about a year. And so not long after the birth of his son, he found his signature look, which was, guess.
Sideburns and Elvis glasses.
I was going to say Elvis, an Elvis look.
Glasses, sunglasses, all the time.
Sunglasses. Mm-hmm. So surfing Elvis.
Surfing Elvis, if only. If only he just loved surfing and not hurting people. So, and this cannot be stated enough because it's talked about so much in the book and the documentary. He hates women, thinks that women are just beneath men, has that like really terrible outlook of there is no equality with women, with the exception of one woman who he meets soon, Susan. So going by the name Tony Alamo, he is like doing his thing in Hollywood, enters a bar with his so-called business associates and spots Susan. Susan has her signature platinum hair and is sitting at the bar with her daughter, who is about 14 or 15 at this time. And Susan is speaking loudly, smoking a cigarette, just kind of like really has that presence that Chris was talking about earlier. And something drew him to this woman with the platinum hair. And he says, "I promote a lot of high-end entertainers, but I haven't seen you before." And Susan says,
"Well, I'm an actress, been around the studio for years, and my daughter here is a singer."
So Tony goes on to say that he has promoted the Beatles, Sonny and Cher, and neither of those things are true. And so they chat for a bit, and then he goes to the bathroom where Chris says to her mother that she can sense that Tony is a bad guy. She says that she even knows that he got a wannabe starlet pregnant, who I found out her name is Judy Lee Stearns, giving him another son. So I think that's like 5 kids at this point for Tony.
Chris knew who he was. Mm-hmm. He had a reputation.
He has a reputation. And so Chris recalls her mother putting her finger in her face and saying,
"Mind your own fucking business. When he gets back, excuse yourself from the table and don't come home tonight."
So once Tony returns, Susan, looking straight at him, asked,
"Did you know that Jesus Christ is coming back to earth again?"
And he looks right back at her and says, "Why, yes, Susan, I do. But how did you?" So Susan invites Tony home for more conversation, and that is when 2 crooked and twisted people found their worst half. And not long after, both would file for divorce from their current spouses, getting married in Vegas in 1966. And they would marry and become Susan and Tony Alamo. Running a small ministry together, they invited all sorts of lost souls to pray, to be saved, to turn over their worldly possessions.
Oh, so kind.
Right? I know, for church. And encouraging their members to get jobs and give them their money. And when I say give them their money, Tony and Susan want all of their money. So Susan and Tony moved to Las Vegas, leaving Susan's daughter, Chris, behind. And so I just want to say, for those listening, trigger warning, this is sexual abuse. So Chris, while visiting her mom, is left home alone one afternoon with Tony, and he rapes her. And her mom walks in on the scene, immediately accused her daughter of being a whore. And Chris tries to explain that he forced himself on her, but her mother says she is a liar and trying to steal her man.
Oh my gosh.
Chris immediately went back to LA, heartbroken and shattered. With things not working out the way they hoped, Tony and Susan returned to LA. And Tony, having depleted the opera singer that he was representing by buying high-end clothing, he and Susan had to return to ministering.
So having, like, he got everything he could out of the opera singer.
Like, just took all of her money.
Man, he's the worst. And poor Chris.
Poor Chris. Seriously. That's just, I can't even imagine. So this is when Susan takes charge. And so she is in charge of like who they are ministering to and what they ask for, starting with her daughter, Chris, and Chris's boyfriend, Ed. Chris and Ed immediately join. And like, I just think that's kind of the thing where Chris is so desperate for her mother's approval. Like, she grew up with a bad mom who's scamming, who's lying, who is going to do and say whatever it takes to get ahead, even if that means her daughter is like thrown under the bus. And I think that's just the kind of thing where you grow up just like hoping that your mom is like, hey, good job.
Right.
But you'll never get it.
Did she have any kind of relationship with her birth father?
No, from what I understand in the book and in the documentary.
So she even though Tony was awful to her, she was actually probably also
like, that's kind of her father figure.
Yeah.
Because she was like,
worst kind.
Also, she was like 15
right.
when
so confusing.
he was around. Yeah. So it's just so sad. So Susan and Tony begin with the most vulnerable, which is homeless children, and they're feeding them, and the food is their food that they've scavenged from trash cans, pretty much. And they tell these like poor, vulnerable people that they have a direct line to God and that they could be saved. Telling the kids that if they didn't live with this group that they were creating, that they were rejecting God. And these kids gave their paychecks to Susan and Tony.
Gosh.
And they would take converts to the beach and baptize them. And they are living in like I think it's a 3-bedroom house. And they have like 200 to 300 people just in and out of this place.
Oh, that is nuts.
And so
No personal space. Although I bet you that Susan and Tony found a way to carve out some personal space for them.
Susan and Tony had their own place. And so this is when Susan and Tony filed the Articles of Incorporation for the Tony and Susan Alamo Foundation. And so their church is born.
Tax-free. Whatever you call it. Tax deductible. Whatever.
Tax exempt.
That's the word I'm looking for. Tax exempt.
Taxidermy.
Taxi driver.
Taxidermy is a hobby that I might like to get into one day. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh.
Okay. So do you guys remember Susan's quote, put on a dress, we're going to do a church whole
Yes.
thing? Susan expanded that idea and did that with the homeless children that joined their church. So they would load up in vans, go to a bigger church with Susan and Tony displaying what like salvation was supposed to look like. Like, we've saved these kids. Look at these kids that we've done so much good. And they would ask for donations and they would leave with their purses full.
Wow.
So police noticing these 200 to 300 people going in and out of a 2 or 3 bedroom house, Tony and Susan didn't like that attention. And so they decide that they're going to move to a property in Saugus, California, which is about 40 minutes outside of LA. And this is the year 1971. And so they were able to purchase some property. And it was a rundown old restaurant that they turned into their church. The members obviously lived in squalor, and married couples were allowed to live together in shacks. And Tony would talk about having met Susan and what that meant to him. And he said, quote, "God has got to love me more than anybody in the world." And Susan called Tony
the eagle.
In one of their churches, there was a room that they would beat the devil out of your child.
Oh.
And Susan and Tony would oversee and instruct what to do, how many strikes, and was the victim truly repentant, which is just so awful.
And only Tony had the ability to, or Tony and Susan were the only ones that had the ability to know.
They're the only ones with a direct line to God.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
So
I just wish people could understand that claim.
It's just so...
It's not right. No. Oh, it makes me so sad.
So Chris, Susan's daughter, has 2 children, and at this point, she sees the writing on the wall. She knows she needs to get out of there, especially if she wants to save her kids from this awful practice.
Yes.
And she knows that she can never leave her kids alone with Susan and Tony. And never blaming the victim, but I wish she would have just left, like in the middle of the night. But this is what Chris does. She let her mother know that she wanted to leave and she wanted to take her kids. She said, "I'm not going to tell anybody about your scam. I know what you're doing because I'm your kid and we've been doing it since I was a kid." And Susan says, "I'll kill you before I let you go."
Oh, no.
And so Chris goes to her quarters to pack up her stuff because she wants to leave. And Susan sends foundation members to beat the shit out of Chris. And this happens to Chris while Chris is just shielding her children.
Oh my gosh.
Chris passes out from the beating, and when she wakes up, her children are gone.
Of course.
Chris smartly calls the cops. And she finds her oldest, couldn't find her youngest, goes with the police to the police station. And she's about to be photographed with all of the bruising and everything because she passed out from this beating. And Chris gets a phone call at the station.
"If you file anything, you'll never see your daughter again. If you want your daughter, you need to leave right now. Don't sign anything and come back to the house and get her."
So Chris, just crossing her fingers, goes back, gets her child, and she takes her daughter, and her mother says,
"I warned you."
And so Chris just speeds off as quickly as she can. And for the next few years, she is just moving from apartment to apartment because she knows that her mom will keep her promise if she can. And that is the last time she sees her mother. And the year is 1971.
Oh, geez. Well, thank heavens. So she has both kids.
Chris has her children, and Chris got away.
Oh, thank heavens.
As for, I don't know if her boyfriend stayed in the cult.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to know, but I don't know. Or maybe she partnered up with somebody else. I'm not sure.
Ooh, yeah, I don't know either.
But I mean that happened a lot. People, a spouse leaving, and the spouse who stays in the cult a lot of times would have the kids. And just that's just got to break your heart.
That would be really tough.
So when an investigator came for the first time, looking into the church and seeing if they want to join this organization, they would witness full band music, everybody standing and clapping, singing with the gospel songs, praising the Lord. There would be solos, there would be popcorn testimonials, and it would be a bit of a whirlwind.
So you mean investigator, you don't mean investigator, crime investigator. You mean a spiritual investigator looking into the church.
Yep. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. Spiritual investigator, not crime investigator.
Yeah.
And so it would be...
So it was they presented this we're having so much fun. And if you join, you might get a solo.
That wide-eyed, aren't you so glad to be here? Isn't this the best? Yeah. And so it would be a bit of a whirlwind. And then suddenly the testimonials stop. All eyes on the podium. Susan and Tony step up. Tony always slightly behind, and Susan would deliver a passionate sermon. Just, the Lord is here right now. The Lord is here for you, and full of a message. Everybody has to find the Lord. And then Tony, after Susan would give this very energetic sermon, and Tony would be behind giving very supportive commentary like, amen, bless you, Susan, bless the Lord, Susan, and like stuff like that. And so then Susan would be done and Tony would give his own short sermon, essentially thanking God for being God and asking for the Holy Spirit, anointing the congregation, lift everyone up, break down walls and barriers, open their hearts, and to receive everything you want them to receive. So kind of just a whole lot of nothing.
So
like receive what you want them to receive, dear Lord. And it's just kind of like...
Yeah, it sounds like just like speaking to fill up space. And thank you, Lord, for being yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like taking up space. That's a very good way to put it, Nettie. And so, as in a lot of churches, everybody is brother or sister. And then there are senior sisters and brothers, and there are baby sisters and brothers.
Oh.
And so at this point, a new investigator would be taken to the altar to go and pray. And like being caught up in the moment, you go. And I mean, like I've been to church camps and stuff, like, and you do get like very caught up in the moment and you kind of want to be with the crowd and like be included and everybody's smiling and like having a wonderful time. And so you're caught up in the moment and you don't want to miss out. And you want the same happiness that it looks like everyone else is feeling. And then Tony would pray over everybody. And then the new investigators would be isolated. And brother or sister select would take you, the woman or man investigator, saying things like, God wants you here. If you leave, you're giving yourself to Satan. You'll do drugs and live in sin. And then a classic cult move is, guess.
Give me all your money.
Don't give him food.
So they would deprive you of food and deprive you of sleep.
Yes, that's a classic bachelorette move and also a cult move.
Because as we know, that can also be a cult.
I had a question. Did they kind of target, because you said that they would say, if you leave, you'll go do drugs. Did they target people that were struggling with substances, like particularly?
Yeah, that comes up because they also later... like they will also go under the guise of being a rehab facility. Oh. As well as like a church.
Oh, that is so dark. It's so terrible.
There were a couple places in California that did that in that time frame, right? Were there other cults
there was like
too?
Synanon. That was like the one where you'd like scream therapy, you'd scream at each other.
And it wasn't, Synanon was the one where you would like get a partner where you'd have to ask permission to eat. You'd call your mentor or whatever and be like, can I eat an apple?
Yeah, and like I think shaving heads also was part of Synanon.
Yeah.
So classic cult move, sleep deprivation, food deprivation. And so like these church services lasted for hours. So like you arrive, so you're like caught up on this whirlwind. So then if you join anyone that you knew before and if they came to see you, you were not allowed to be alone together. You had to have like your brother or sister person with you, or even Susan or Tony themselves.
Man.
Like a chaperone almost.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That's the word. So the daily schedule and rules were always changing. And limited dietary practices and sleep deprivation were normal, as we just talked about. And everything was limited. Physical needs, water, electricity, toilet paper. And a common phrase from the, quote, overseers was, there you go thinking again, if you question anything.
So they're literally telling you, don't think.
Don't think, just do.
Just do what we say. God's talking to us. Why are you thinking?
Well, Susan and Tony know everything.
And thinking's for the devil.
Thinking is for the devil. So, on the church compound, every evening, there were 25 witnesses who were supposed to give popcorn testimonials. So that is something like somebody stands up and says, thank God I'm saved, or thanks to Susan and Tony, or I would be dead, or if I hadn't found Tony and Susan, I'd be in hell. Those kinds of things.
Right.
Very quick, very short. And those testimonials would evolve into a story from Tony or Susan about how someone left the compound and then died by being shot by a gang or something else terrible. In short, if you leave, something bad will happen to you. And that is also another very common thing.
Yes, it just
in
like
cults.
preys on the fear. Just like, so if you start to doubt, you're like, wait, but if I leave, everyone I know that's left, every time I've heard of someone leaving, I know that they're miserable and awful or something terrible happens. And yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. And you're giving all of your money to these people. So you don't have any savings. You don't have anything to rely on. And usually, they're preying on these vulnerable people who probably don't have a support system. And so this becomes your support system, but you can't leave or have any independence.
Yeah.
So
it's like it becomes your whole life. So they encourage you to cut off contact with
Oh, yeah.
outside, your family
yeah.
and stuff. Okay.
So as you stay on the compound, you understand that there are consequences for violating the rules. And the consequences is usually removal of a privilege or any privilege, such as meals, separating spouses, removal of children, hard labor, beatings, reassignment of living quarters, or full-on being kicked out of the church, which is losing your friends and family and any support you thought you had.
Right. And especially if you're a believer, you probably think that you're losing your salvation as well.
So the compound was under 24-hour patrol, and it was done in 2-hour shifts. So attributing to that sleep deprivation.
Right.
And by all accounts, Susan was the brain behind the operation. She knew how to bring in members, and with members comes money. And Tony was the man behind the woman, and everyone knew it. And I think with Tony's hatred of women, I think Susan encouraged that.
Well, she
And
probably
she was
almost
the exception to his rule.
She saw this in him and just was like, I'm going to harness this and I'm going to use it to empower, to empower herself.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it sounds like she's evil, but she's smart.
Very clever. And these cult leaders all just kind of go by the same playbook. It's very when you look at a cult and the way that it grows and what the leaders do, they're all doing the same thing. It's very eerie.
It's weird how we all know it, but it still works.
Yeah. Anybody can be drawn into a cult.
That's why I don't go to the gym.
Me too.
I do not want to be caught up in the cult of CrossFit, exercise, and well-being.
Or any of those dues. No.
Just kidding. I do. I pay membership. I pay membership at two athletic clubs that I don't go to. So yes, I've been drawn in.
Hey girl, me too, but just one gym. So the church is growing and it reaches the numbers of the low thousands. Very isolated, as in they don't let their members go and do things unless they have to, go have a job or whatever. But no friends, no interacting with people outside of the cult.
All of the members live on the compound. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so the trusted members, they allow them to go and work in fields, such as picking grapevines, picking roses, packing pears, hoeing cotton. And their paychecks were given directly to
Tony and Susan.
Tony and Susan, Susan and Tony.
Good job, sisters. You're passing this test with flying colors.
Same brain. We knew.
So it's debated among the former members if Tony and Susan turned once they learned that they could make money off of the members, or if it was their intention all along. And I am of the opinion that it was their intention all along. They just weren't good people.
Yeah.
Not in their lives before they started this cult, and certainly not in their lives after.
No, it sounds like they were just opportunists. They were like, we could do this together.
Yeah.
Especially because, and I don't know as much as what Tony was doing, but especially with Susan's scamming church already, she already knew that she could get these trick people into giving her money. And bless the hearts of those people that really thought they were helping.
Pulling their heartstrings.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my gosh, of course we want to help people.
Yeah.
So,
I just think about all the times I've willingly donated money to people, not a ton, but very willingly donated money to causes that I've maybe not looked into just because I'm, sure, you can, here's $10.
That sounds wonderful. Here you go.
Yeah.
So Tony and Susan were becoming more and more visible to the public. masquerading as a rehabilitative home for drug addicts. Nettie, you called that earlier. Sex workers and homeless, and that gave them some credibility to the public eye. And they even had a couple of shows. 1973 that ended in 1982. They had the show The Alamos, and they also had Susan Alamo Speaks Out.
Oh, my.
And the show featured music, choirs, testimonials, and they would even, under the guise of uniting families, like have their cult members talk to their families outside of the cult.
Okay.
But it was all very heavily monitored, and they would tell the family members from the outside of like, we're not going to let you do this unless you follow these rules. And that was just like not bringing up anything negative about the church, like having to have like positive interactions, almost like forced.
Yeah.
And
I don't
so,
like that.
yeah, the cult member would be like, well, I love it here. They're treating us so well. And their family member outside would just have to kind of be like, okay, great.
Right.
And that was televised, or that was just any interaction?
That was televised. And then Susan would aggressively defend the church's aggressive practices because they were defending against Satan. Mm-hmm. And so the church, established in 1969, is growing. They've got funds coming in, and Tony starts buying up land in Tennessee, Florida, Arizona, Oklahoma, New Jersey, and New York.
Oh.
And this catches the eye of federal agents. Why is this guy buying up so much land all over the place?
Right.
And so the government starts to keep an eye on the Alamos. The Alamos don't like that.
Yeah. And they were buying it as the church, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so the Alamos don't like that. And they take their California congregation to... Anybody want to guess?
New Jersey.
Disneyland.
Arkansas, where Susan's from.
Oh, okay. I thought Disneyland was
I
a
wish
great
they would have
guess.
taken them to Disneyland. And they did leave a few trusted members behind in California to continue the recruiting and like all of that kind of thing. So in 1976, the U.S. Department of Labor files a lawsuit against Susan and Tony, and they were insisting that their church members were, in fact, employees instead of the voluntary laborers that Susan and Tony were saying that they were.
Oh, okay.
And the final ruling was that the members are subject to the Fair Labor Standards Act, or FLSA, and they owed their members back pay.
Oh.
But what all that did was just funnel money straight back to Susan and Tony.
Right. Because they're like, sure. Was this looked at because like former members complained that they hadn't been paid for labor?
I mean, that's possible, but also at the end of the day, I think the government wants their fair share.
Right.
Because they had to pay taxes on all of those due paychecks.
And they had drawn the attention due to all of their land purchases. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, that's what the book and the documentary said. So, okay, so and that was in 1985, but back to 1976, the foundation moves to Arkansas, and it was a very small population of 486 people. And so they see the opportunity to land there and just kind of take over the place. And a new church and home was built for the Alamos. And the followers were still like living in squalor. I think I sent you guys some photos, and you can see it's like a dorm-like building that the members live in, while literally the Alamos live in a mansion that the members built for them, even with a heart-shaped swimming pool. Yeah, those are the dorms.
Did you see that, Emmy?
I did, yeah.
So they just kind of take over the place. Some of the members are working like 25 hours or more, like at a time. And so they are building up this little small town by putting in restaurants. They put in a strip mall. And oftentimes Susan and Tony put these businesses in members' names so that they could hide their monetary worth.
Oh.
And they expand into the nearby town of Alma, where Susan was born. And Alma is kind of a strategic place because it is where Highway 40 and 71, or Interstate 40 and Highway 71 meet up. And so that's a lot of like traffic.
Tons of traffic.
Mm-hmm. And they buy up businesses. They even have a hog farm that's located out of town. And so the routine in Dyer was prayer, church, work, church, more prayer. Children also worked, a little less than the adults because the children had to legally go to school. And regular discipline was for adults and children alike. And sometimes Susan and Tony got a wild hair that they needed to oversee the school and see which children they deemed in need of, quote, attention, and then beat those children into compliance. So, as with any good cult, Susan and Tony wanted their members to have kids, and it would make it much harder for the adults to leave, and they would have members that had never known another life.
Right. Well, and it's just such a way to control people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Poor kids.
So, the system for members to report on each other was pretty much anybody reporting on anybody, member to member, child to parent, parent to child, and punishments would then be handed out by
Tony and Susan.
Yes, nailed it. And so, as you guys can probably imagine, the stress on the kids was enormous. Former members had anxiety over just bad thoughts, thinking that Susan and Tony could read their minds, and the beatings were starting to escalate.
That's tough.
That's so terrible.
Well, it's a good way to get people to like constantly confess is to say, hey, we know. You may as well tell us because we know. Yeah.
Yeah. And I bet it wasn't cute to say you're cruising for a Susan bruising.
Oh, boy.
That wasn't cute or funny.
No.
I bet nobody liked that if they said it.
No one did. Although I kind of liked it right now.
And the look on your face is so worried.
I couldn't not say it once I thought it, but I felt real terrible saying it. So
I'm glad that you shared it because we do need some levity with how dark this subject is. So, a quick flashback to give credence to that anxiety was Chris, Susan's daughter, recalls that when she was about 12 years old, she came home from school and her mother was home holding a drink, ironing clothes, and Chris would come into the room and say, "Hi, Mama." And her mother would say,
"Don't you know that God shows me everything you do?"
And then Susan would beat Chris with the iron.
Oh, a hot one?
I guess so.
Oh, it's awful either way.
So, now this cult did have quite the famous restaurant on I-40. And Susan and Tony, using Tony's Hollywood connections, got stars to come and perform at this restaurant. I did not look up what the name of the restaurant was, and I am so sorry. I just realized that right now.
Probably not still open, right?
No way. But it built a reputation for good food and good entertainment. Even President Bill Clinton went to the restaurant in Alma, Arkansas to hear Dolly Parton sing.
Oh, Dolly. Dolly didn't know.
Dolly didn't know.
She didn't.
Mm-hmm. Dolly is innocent in all of this.
She would never.
She would never. So the IRS records.
Oh.
The IRS records show that contributions went from $46,000 in 1974 to $1.3 million in 1976.
Oh, that's huge fast growth.
In today's money, what is $46,000?
In today's money?
Probably 200,000 maybe?
Yeah, I'm going to say 300,000.
That's correct. Just over 300,000.
Sneaky.
And sneaky Nettie. 1.3 million in 1976 is worth what in today's money?
3.9 million.
6 million.
8.5 million.
I'm better at guessing today's money than Emily. She underestimates.
Today you are. Today you're better.
Today, but now Emily's going to study.
Probably not.
And all of that money went to line the Alamos' pockets, both of them shopping at high-end stores, driving Cadillacs, wearing furs, while their followers were living a very different lifestyle, but being promised that if they follow God, they will have Cadillacs too.
In heaven or on earth?
I don't know if they ever clarified.
Oh.
I remember one of the followers in the documentary saying, like, we were kind of called the Cadillac Church because we were all supposed to be driving Cadillacs one day.
Just keep giving me all your money and letting me beat your children, and one day you too will get a Cadillac.
Exactly. One of the tactics that they used over the years was that Susan had terminal cancer, and she had been healed by her faith. She was that holy. And when she actually was diagnosed with cancer, it said that nobody was more surprised than her.
She's like, wait, what?
Wait,
Or than she.
she had a fake cancer?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that bitch. Oh, my
Yes,
God.
that's really awful.
Awful.
Yeah. And we know that that scheme has been used more than once. I think the apple cider vinegar influencer said she had cancer or something.
Recently. It's been Scamanda.
Yes.
Yes, I watched about half of that. I need to finish it. It was good.
Oh, I never
Yeah,
watched
it's
it.
really terrible.
Well, I mean, if you're a person who actually does have cancer and you think, oh, this is the solution.
Yeah.
And then you die.
It's awful.
Like,
really awful.
yeah, it's an evil thing to do to people, especially vulnerable people. So once it became apparent that Susan was sick, the Alamo members were praying and fasting for her regularly, hoping she would heal. She didn't. And the members were devastated. And it left the members feeling like they were the ones who failed.
Oh, that is so terrible.
Oh.
Meanwhile, Susan was going to doctor after doctor, and after exploratory surgery, discovered that her cancer was too far gone and there was no hope of recovery. Susan was sewn up, and then she continued to preach and travel as she was able. And then on April 8th, 1982, Susan Alamo, age 56, dies from advanced breast cancer.
Oh.
And just before she died, she was with Tony and a small group of members of their church. And she told Tony,
When I die, disband the church. You'll wreck it all. Did you want me to say that with a little more passion?
Sure.
Or was that okay?
Let's do it again.
Okay. We'll just do take two. When I die, disband the church. You'll wreck it all. A little better.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So, with Susan dead and Tony devastated, especially with her parting word, Tony fell apart, and he knew that the members followed Susan, not him. And so he was grasping at anything to keep control of the cult. And so Tony says that while in full despair, he flipped through the Bible and came upon the phrase, raise the dead. And Tony found his next move to keep control. He had Susan's body put into their house in Dyer, Arkansas, and convinced the members that if they prayed hard enough, Susan would rise.
Oh, no.
There was a 24-hour prayer over her dead body. Members sometimes praying as long as like 15 hours at a time.
Oh, jeez.
So when she was finally buried, that is when the control and violence would take a horrible turn. And during this time, the case that the IRS had would kick off 3 weeks after Susan's death. But Susan's body remained in that mansion for a year and a half.
Isn't that abuse of a corpse? That's not legal, is it?
It's abuse of a corpse, but they're like under the guise of a religion. It is their religious right, whatever that law is.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Which sometimes is used for fun, like the Rastafarian church that said that smoking weed was a right of their religion. So fun for some, not for all. Okay, not everybody likes weed. All right. And so Tony, using this as the boogeyman that was coming for the church, it helped him keep control. And he would use this over and over again with the church. The government is coming for me. We have to pray. We have to keep control. We have to, what's the phrase? Lock the hatches, or
Oh, yeah.
What's-
Circle
the wagons.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we should lock the hatches too. Do your wagons have hatches?
Yeah.
That lock?
I don't
You know, some doors too.
Circle them.
Or wait, hatches? What's a hatch?
Circle the doors, ban the wagons.
Yeah.
I don't
we
know.
got it.
I think we're great.
I don't.
You know, just like gather everyone.
This is how we know we can't We can't form a cult. We don't have the right lingo. We're pretty bad at it.
They'll be like, circle your hatches. And they'll be like, wait, what? What do you mean? We'll be like, quit questioning us.
Go have fun. Whatever that is to you, go have fun.
That's Haley's cult. I'm joining.
I already joined a long time ago. Sorry, Nitty.
Yeah, actually, me too.
Everybody's invited. Join my cult, listeners. All right. And so Tony is saying, pray for Susan to return, pray to keep the boogeyman away, and keep working for me. And that was just kind of his motto. And the members being so hopeful that if they prayed hard enough that Susan would return because they loved Susan. And so
I don't know why
he used that manipulation. I don't know either.
Nothing you've told me about her is lovable at all. She really must have been charming in person.
She must have been charming in person because we've seen those photos.
Yes.
Sorry, Susan. No, I'm not. You're mean. You're a mean person. Okay. So the IRS told Tony that he owed $19 million in back pay, which is worth in today's money.
Wait, what year was it?
Oh,
1982.
Okay, hold on.
What is it, like 120 million?
20 to 200 million.
63 million in today's money.
Oh, my math was way off that
I
time.
don't think I've recognized the pattern yet.
Something times 3, maybe divided by 2, but also multiplied by 0.5.
Oh, that makes no sense.
You make so much sense.
If you multiply something by 0.5, you're dividing it by 2.
Oh, yeah.
Aren't you? Okay, this is not a math podcast.
I don't know about math.
Listen, our dad is going to be so embarrassed if you leave that in. You should probably take it out.
Hey,
Sorry, Dad.
just
Dad,
Dad,
we love you.
and Dad, for the record, we know that the Denmark are Danish. Shit.
I don't even want to redo that.
We know that the Danish.
We
live in
cannot
Denmark.
have the Danish debacle again, okay? We cannot.
Nettie, you missed the mark. The Denmark.
I know. The Denmark.
The Denmark debacle, we can't do it.
Okay.
So Tony's tactic in court was to appeal, delay, and stall over and over again. And Chris, Susan's daughter, said of Tony, "My mother made him a very rich psycho."
Oh, yeah. Two rich psychos. Mm-hmm. You know, it's really a shame he didn't just listen to Susan and disband the church, because he probably just could have gone and been like a recluse millionaire.
He didn't want to be a recluse, though. He wanted a lot of ladies around him, as we will find out soon.
Wait, did he leaf through the Bible again and see a different passage? Not raising the dead this time, but
Who's to say? I don't
I
know.
bet he was reading that concubine stuff over and over.
So after Susan died, a former member who was born into the cult said that Tony lost it, just became a monster, literally screaming from the pulpit, and people took it and people stayed.
wow.
And Tony saw that they stayed, and so things got even worse. The beatings is particularly, and Tony had a paddle with holes drilled into it that he liked to call, do you guys want to give a guess?
The Punisher.
God's paddle. I don't know.
He called it the Board of Education.
Oh, wow.
I hate that a lot.
I hate it too.
And this is for our listeners and for my sisters. Plug your ears if you need to. But
I'm not
trigger
plugging
warning, violent child abuse. I'm going to make this as quick as possible.
You can plug your ears.
Do you want to plug your ears, Emmy?
Yeah.
If it's too much for you, skip ahead about 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. Okay.
30 seconds to a minute. When a child would be punished, there was a special room that they would go to. An adult man, usually very muscular, would bring out the Board of Education. 4 other adult men would lift the child in the air, holding their limbs. The man swinging the paddle would hold it like a baseball bat, and Tony would tell them to, quote, chop wood. These men would swing as hard as they could because Tony was right there threatening them that if they didn't put everything into it, someone would spank them.
Oh, jeez.
And so there's no excuse for this.
No.
But it is important to note that these people think that they're being righteous and these kids think they deserve it. No excuse, because you should never hit a kid. There's no excuse. And they think these orders are coming from God, and they are all brainwashed by Tony and the cult.
Yeah.
So
and probably a part of it is that like sunk cost. Like if they start to question like, am I wrong about this? I've already given all of my money and this many years of my life and let my children be beat over and over.
And you've probably been beaten yourself.
Yeah. Like what? Yeah. Oh,
Terrible.
geez.
So with all of this going on and Tony's temper tantrums at the pulpit, he was also leaving town a lot. And a loser like Tony can't be alone for long. Along comes Brigida Gillenhammer, and they met in June of 1984. She was a store owner where she sold beautiful clothes in Beverly Hills, and she is very beautiful. She's from Sweden. He wooed her, spent money on her, but he wouldn't even kiss her until they were married. And she found that a little charming.
Oh.
Of like, he is so sure about me that he's going to just propose without any, like not even a kiss.
I don't think that's charming. I think that is so weird.
Me too. I agree with you. Brigida found it charming.
Brigida.
And so she says yes, and this marriage would barely last 2 years. Looking back, Brigida believes that Tony pursued her because she looks a little bit like Susan. Much prettier.
Oh, I'm sure.
We might want to do like a side-by-side of Brigida and Susan. Brigida's really cute.
Well, sounds like she was smart too. Although 2 years. Also, I mean, it sounds like she wised up. She was not smart when she married him.
Well, as a person who has been in a like abusive relationship, it's a slow burn, and you keep hoping that like the beginning romance and kindness and love is going to come back, and then it doesn't.
Yeah.
And so there is a point where you have to make a choice.
So maybe really 2 years was like fast, actually. Like she was wizened up quickly.
Yeah. So Brigida, forgive me if I've already said this, Brigida believes that Tony pursued her because she looks like Susan, although I think that Brigida's prettier. And she also believes that Tony wanted her to take Susan's place.
Oh.
Where Tony could claim that Brigida was Susan reincarnated, essentially.
Right. Or like Susan's spirit.
Like, we did it, you guys. Susan is resurrected.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Brigida was not religious. She did not want to replace Susan. She did not want to be part of this church.
Smart girl.
And also the members were a little confused because they loved Susan, and Brigida was obviously not Susan.
Yeah.
So their relationship became very revolving around sex. Is their relationship. And Brigida said that the only way she could handle him was to have sex 3 times a day. If it was only 2 times, Tony would go to pray, come back, beat her up.
Oh.
3 times a day to avoid beatings.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
She
That's
goes
awful.
I know. And she goes on to say that his money was nice. It was nice to have nice things. And I think that she really did like him
In the beginning.
at first.
Well, he's clearly charming. Like, there's got to be something about him that draws people in. Mm-hmm. And he was incredibly wealthy. I mean, that just is it's like the comfort's not having to worry.
Not worrying about money is huge. And so eventually his controlling nature and his violent nature won out, and she left.
Good girl.
She was just like, goodbye. And Tony had her followed for years.
Of course he did.
So in the mid-'80s, Tony Alamo Designs comes out. And they gain notice for their airbrushed and bejeweled jean jackets. Who else could place those teeny tiny little jewels but the hands of
Children.
Yep, exactly. Kids.
I was going to say
long hours.
Tiny adults, but
Tiny adults, tiny hands. The kids working long hours, sometimes 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
oh wow.
Jackets sold on Rodeo Drive at the Alamo Nashville store, along with Neiman Marcus, Saks Fifth Avenue, and the members of the cult had no idea. And these jackets ran like anywhere from like $300, sometimes I think up to like $2,000, depending on if they were like specialized.
So the members of the cult did not know that he was selling them, and it was their kids that were working all day long.
Yeah.
Not going to school, just bedazzling.
And and the adults working alongside the children.
Oh yeah.
So jackets were personalized for celebrities, and Tony became known as the Dean of Dazzle. And celebrities that wore the jackets are our beloved Dolly Parton, who knew nothing and has never done anything wrong.
No, she didn't know.
Miley Cyrus also knew nothing. Michael Jackson, Mr. T. There's a photo of Mr. T.
Yeah, you saw
and I do not mention any of these celebrities for any other reason to highlight that Tony did have great marketing skills. I do not believe any of these celebrities had knowledge of Tony Alamo's crimes.
You're probably right. But I do want to say, since you didn't specify, the Michael Jackson Tony Alamo jacket, it's the leather jacket he was wearing on the cover of the album.
Yep, I was just about to say that.
Sorry. I'm just sending a picture to you guys. So
that's
I can
the opposite of burying the lead. That's what we call unburying the lead.
Unburying the lead.
That's what we call exposing the lead.
Exposing the lead.
Or spoiler,
the lead.
Yeah.
Spoiling the lead. Maybe that's it.
Sorry.
All right. So the Labor Department hears about what is happening, and they start to ask questions. And the members of this cult had been conditioned to lie to anyone in government. And the government was a threat to their belief system. That whole boogeyman thing that Tony was very good at bringing out anytime there may have been dissent among the members, or questioning his authority, or questioning his line to God. So a former member of the cult said, quote, "They didn't give children going to the sewing rooms a single thought. They did it for the Lord," which tells you how ingrained they were.
Bedazzle for the Lord, child.
For the Lord.
What did you say his nickname was? Bedazzling Tony or something?
The Dean of Dazzle.
Dean of Dazzle.
Mm-hmm.
Bedazzling Tony.
What was the name of the
Bedazzling and Bamboozling Tony?
Ooh, I like that. And what was the name of were they just Tony Alamo jackets?
Tony Alamo Designs.
Okay, because I think that I saw something recently where they're still for sale. You can still find these on eBay for
a lot,
thousands of dollars. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're collector's items.
Yeah. Probably especially Michael Jackson's.
Probably especially, or Mr. T's.
Yep.
Mr. T's, definitely. Dolly Parton's?
Probably.
I'd collect that.
Yeah, I would, because I love her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think at this point, of course, the jacket thing is all gone. So they are definitely collector's items at this point, I would believe.
You're saying you pity the fool that has to pay for it?
Yes. Exactly. This is why I love you. So, in 1985, the United States Supreme Court upheld the verdict in the Labor Department against the Alamo Foundation, and Tony Alamo was required to pay his workers. So this has happened a couple of times. This time, however, is a little different because his tax-exempt status is revoked.
Oh, take that,
and
Dean of Dazzle.
Mm-hmm. And Tony owed the IRS $7.5 million. In
1984?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't do it. I forgot on this one.
I'm not going to guess.
So, wait.
Back to his new wife at the time, because Brigida has not officially left yet, but we know she does. Brigida says that Tony told her often, "If you leave me, you'll get nothing." He tried to strangle her many times, which is an indication of future spousal murder. And he also told her if she ever left him, the Lord would kill her. And then he starts to talk to her about multiple wives.
Of course he did.
And in the documentary, Brigida remembers the way that he would look at the young girls.
Oh,
gross. Brigida files for divorce and leaves. So Tony often said to some of his followers that he could slit someone's throat at the pulpit, throw them on the ground, and his followers would say it was the right thing to do.
Sheesh.
Mm-hmm.
Yuck.
That level of confidence.
Oh, gosh. So the cult starts expanding in real estate and moving over to Miami. They sent their member, Carrie Miller. And Carrie Miller was in the cult, but more so for his wife. And he didn't keep an eye on the goings on because his job did keep him on the road. Literally, he was a truck driver. And so over in Miami, a little boy just 5 years old, his name is Justin, gravitates towards Carrie and just kind of stuck to his side. And Carrie starts buying the kid food, learning his mom is a drug addict. And Justin went to stay with Carrie and Carol. Carol is the wife. And so Justin starts bouncing back and forth between Miami and Arkansas. And Justin really liked it in the cult. He said that, and his mom was okay with him being gone from time to time. And Justin suddenly has all of these friends, and he's just like a really happy-go-lucky kid, just wants to please people and just be happy and have fun. And so, unfortunately, on one of Justin's visits to the compound, he learns that his mom has died.
Oh, no.
And so Carrie and Carol adopt Justin.
Okay.
And Justin didn't have a problem with it. He loves it. And like, he really loves his new dad. And he's like beginning to love his new mom and just really, really leaning in. And other new members like recall just like loving his energy, loving like the newness that he brought because he wasn't born into the cult. He was 5 at the time.
Okay.
And so
little.
The years go by and Justin at first has no idea of the beatings. And neither did Carrie. And so Carrie and his brother Bob had a trucking company. And so, he was on the road a lot. As soon as Carrie found out about the beatings, like literally walked into his wife watching a beating happen.
Oh, no.
And he immediately says to Carol, "We got to go." And she says, "No."
Oh, no, Carol, listen to him.
So Carrie and his brother Bob leave in the middle of the night. And he says that they were chased and shot at. And Carrie says that if they had been apprehended, he is 100% sure they would have been shot.
Did they take
Executed.
Justin?
No.
Oh,
they were not able to get Justin that night.
No.
And Carrie is still broken up about that he did not get his son Justin sooner.
Oh.
Carol told Justin that Carrie and Bob were dead in Christ. And Carrie, not able to leave his son in that cult, sneaks back onto the compound that they were shot at when they were escaping.
Right.
Back into his room that he shared with his wife, and he wakes her up. Carol immediately starts screaming for the guards, and Carrie again runs for his life.
Oh, Carol.
At this point,
She's so
Justin is
brainwashed.
10, and the year is 1988. So Tony, hearing about this whole thing, relocates Carol and Justin 1,500 miles away to their California compound. And Justin immediately begins getting accusations that he still loves his dad, Carrie.
Oh, jeez.
And that they were going to beat the devil out of him. So Justin is taken to a room, and trigger warning, violence against children. Emily, do you want to plug your ears? Okay.
She nodded her head in the affirmative.
Fast forward about 30 seconds to a minute. So by telephone from another building, Tony spoke to the room, and a gathering of kids, he let them know that they will also be beaten if they ever do what Justin did, which is being accused of still loving his father.
So he didn't even do anything.
Didn't even do a thing. So over the speakerphone, Tony orders the beating of 10-year-old Justin. And Justin is hit with the full force over and over, a total of 150 times.
Oh my gosh.
The men in the room taking turns because they tire out. And Justin looks at his mother and says, "This isn't fair." And she responds, "Shut up. You deserve this."
Oh, Carol, I don't like you anymore at all. I had a little sympathy for her. Now none.
By the time the beating is over, he is bloody through his jeans.
Oh my gosh.
Justin, as an adult now, said even worse than the beating was his mother's refusing to intervene. She was supposed to be his protector.
Yes, she was.
He was bandaged up, and he spent days laying on his stomach, and Justin was never the same happy kid again. No. And like the photos of him from before this are just like, it just makes your heart break. He just was a kid.
I just feel like there's just nothing more evil than crushing the spirit of a child like that. That's just the worst.
Yep.
Very worst thing.
Yeah. And that's what horrible people like Tony Alamo want to do. They want that control over you. It's all about control because he is a teeny tiny worthless little man. So all this time, Carrie has been searching for Justin. Like, he never gave up. He talked to anyone like on the fringes of the cult, anyone who would talk to him. He was like, where is my son? And finally, he learns that he's at the compound in Saugus, California. Carrie and Bob get a court order to get their children back. And the police go to search the compound, and the members tried to hide Justin, but did not work. They've got him. And Carrie is over the moon to have his son back. And Justin, understandably, was a little hesitant to go to his father. And Carrie just like grasps at anything. And he's just like, hey, son, let's go to Disneyland. And then Justin finally like breaks through his fear and goes to his father. And Justin immediately tells his father about the beating. And Carrie immediately is just like, we will get justice. Like,
Good.
And so Justin bravely gave the names of the adults involved. Carrie divorces Carol.
Good.
And
I hope that he gave his mother's name. She's complicit.
yep. Well, that's why Carrie divorced Carol.
Good.
Because of what Carol did.
I want her to be arrested.
I don't believe so. I don't believe she was arrested. But
Carol, if you're still alive and you hear this, I hope you get arrested.
I hope you get arrested too. And he says who beat him and who held him. And Justin's cousins, because Bob was also, like after his family, they were returned to their father, Bob. So Tony was not there. Tony was in New York promoting his jackets during this raid. And so police checked the rest of the children for bruises, broken bones, but there wasn't much more that they could do from there. And so in October of 1988, Tony Alamo and 5 others were charged with child abuse for the beating of Justin Miller. Tony did not turn himself in, but with the coverage of the case, and Justin, just at 10, 11 years old, he did an interview describing what it was like to be in the cult. And he says, like claustrophobia, but it's your whole life.
Oh, poor kid.
Mm-hmm. So Bob and Carrie were not going to wait for Tony to turn himself in. They moved forward with a civil suit. So that means no jail time, but civilly you get awarded a monetary value. Because they wanted justice for their kids, but they also didn't want them to have to like keep going through this or like hanging on to anything, like be in limbo, essentially legal limbo.
Yeah.
So Tony runs because he's a fucking coward and recording tapes while he's on the run, sending them to the church and still directing everything, even the beatings from on the road. And the members are still afraid of him. Like he's splitting up families and he's getting more aggressive. So Tony, weaponizing anybody talking to any organizations such as the police or the government, says that he'll just kill them. They'll just be killed. They don't get to talk to anybody. Wow. And so if Tony felt his control was slipping out of his hands, he would become more extreme. And then in 1990, finally, the civil case against him goes to trial and the Millers are awarded $1.8 million.
Oh, good.
And so Tony, due to this loss, had his mansion in Arkansas seized. But with the Georgia Ridge property being taken, Tony orders 2 members to take Susan's body from the mausoleum that she was in.
Oh.
Still like that soon after Susan's death.
Wow.
So then Tony starts taking Susan's body with him everywhere or having members keep Susan's body for him. And when Chris learns of this, she sues Tony for the return of her mother's body. So
I don't know how I feel about that. I sort of feel like if I were Chris, I'd be like, keep her.
I know, right? Chris especially in the documentary just seems like a person who she's been through it.
Yeah.
And I think she wanted Tony to suffer too.
Yeah.
Like for everything that he also did to her.
I can see it. Also, we have no idea what it's like to crave a mother's love.
Yes.
Because
our mother never, ever withheld love.
So I think that's probably just like a major psychological, I can't think of the word, like
hurdle. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's got to be super tough.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the U.S. Marshals tracking down Tony Alamo, monitoring incoming and outgoing calls of known cult members. Because remember, they have land everywhere. They have their churches and compounds everywhere. And they took note of a specific cell phone number coming from Tampa, Florida. And every day, a tape was played on an A&M station with Tony preaching, talking about Marshall Sanders, a judge he threatened. Not a smart idea. And they were able to zero in on a specific house. And it belonged to a follower. And they were watching the house. And then one day, a man came out to get the morning newspaper. And it was Tony Alamo. Sunglasses and sweatpants and all.
Wait, he wore his uniform?
Right? So
What a dummy.
Tony goes back into the house. The U.S. Marshals move in, and they found him with a large amount of cash. And this is one of my favorite parts. Tony asks, "How'd you find me?" And one of the officers answered, "Divine intervention."
Oh, yes. Good job, officer.
But
So you know the Lord shows me where you are, Tony.
So Susan Alamo's body was not with Tony. And after the manhunt and everything that we know Tony did, do you think he was found guilty or not?
Oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. How? Not guilty how?
Not guilty for desecration of a corpse.
He was found not guilty for desecration of a corpse? Probably just because of because he claimed religious freedom or something?
Probably. Yeah. And then when Tony left the courtroom, a free man, he's recorded saying, I thank God for giving me two very good attorneys.
But what about the child abuse charges? I guess he didn't get criminal charges. He just had civil. So he did have to pay. I just want him in jail so bad.
I know. It's not coming. It's not happening. It'll happen by the end of the episode.
Okay.
So
there'll be a
during
payoff, guys. Hold on.
Just keep holding on. So during this time of freedom, Tony coaxed his members to come back to him. And some of the members that joined him were, because he had been on the road for so long, right?
Yeah.
And so some of the members that came back were members that had left. And these people just say they were returning to their friends, people that they knew for 20 years. They just wanted their friends back. Mm-hmm. And members rallied and purchased a church in Arkansas. And that became the new center for the cult. And even with news about this cult, I mean, I didn't hear about this cult until a couple years ago. And so he was able to attract new members, even with the publicity of the manhunt and all of that stuff. And so the regular preaching of this cult is the government is the enemy, us versus them mentality. And when you're a cult leader, and I want to say this is scientifically studied, they have a rhythm. Mm-hmm. Like Jim Jones had a rhythm to his voice, to his preaching, and you can literally hear it on the Jonestown tapes.
Yeah, I've heard it.
Mm-hmm. And so he continues to prey on vulnerable people. And so what do you think he starts preaching about at the pulpit regularly?
He needs multiple wives.
Correct. Oh, polygamy. Yes. Polygamy at the pulpit.
And they have to be really young.
Uh-huh.
No uggos.
No uggos.
The Lord hath not decreed it. No uggos for Tony.
So now he's on trial for tax evasion and tax fraud. And during this time, Tony had married about 5 young girls between the ages of 15 and 16.
Oh,
and this was
gross.
Mm-hmm. And this was made a little more public when Tony invited an older woman in the cult to dinner. And at first she was excited at the invitation. And then when she arrives, she witnesses Tony calling these girls his wives and touching them in inappropriate ways.
When you say an older woman in the cult, was she 22?
I think she may have been into her 30s.
Oh, okay.
Over the hill.
Definitely too old for Tony.
Yeah.
And
gross.
he's what, 50s, 60s by now?
He was born in 1930 something, and this is 1994.
Oh, so he's 60.
Yes. Correct.
In his 60s. Gross.
And it's just a little odd because Susan was 15 years older than he was. Mm-hmm. So he is sentenced to 6 years in federal prison on all of the tax charges. While in prison,
not enough.
Like any good cult, not enough at all. Like any good cult leader, Tony keeps control of the cult.
Warren Jeffs did the same thing, remember? Mm-hmm. He still does.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, because going to prison seems to give you more credit because that boogeyman that he's been talking about all these years literally came to get them. And so ordering his cult members to buy property, keep giving him money, continuing to distribute sermons. And then he becomes more focused on polygamy. And he starts saying as soon as a girl reaches puberty, it is okay to marry her.
No.
Such as 13 to 15 years old.
But
now.
he means just him.
Only him. Only.
Right. So he's probably like, hey, I get out in 6 years. So if there's only any 8-year-olds right now or 7-year-olds.
Ooh, that's going to come up.
He's the worst. He needs to be punched.
So Amy Eddy is 14 years old, and she has been isolated from the cult for telling her brother that a girl liked him. And she wrote to Tony, her prophet, asking if she could please have a job, hoping that this would get her out of isolation.
Yeah.
And he says, yes, you can work in his office. So if you work in his office, you are living there. And only young girls lived there. And Amy at first was super happy about it. She didn't know.
She's like, yay, I get to go work for the prophet, basically.
And so she tells her mom, and her mom excitedly tells Amy, you're getting married to Tony.
Oh, no. Her mom was like, no, honey, we're getting out of here.
No, her mom was not. Her mom was excited about it. And so the wives would visit Tony in prison, and he would test his new wives using the older wives, making sure they're virgins. And the wives would bring photos of the young girls to Tony so he could choose his victims. And Tony being released from prison in 1998, before he could be released, though, he had to return the body of Susan Alamo. And if he does not comply...
Really? Even though he was found not guilty?
It's the terms of his release.
Okay. I mean, good. Yay. I think that's good. But still, I'm surprised, I guess, that they found him not guilty. But then they're like, even though we decided this wasn't wrong...
Maybe at this point, they're like, now this is desecration of a corpse, you ding-dong.
Yeah.
You big box of stupid.
Well, especially because if they don't even know where the corpse is or what he's done with it. He's like, I've been wearing her as a necklace this entire time. You all thought this was a fake skeleton around my neck.
It's a real life-size skeleton.
It's Susan.
That was awesome, Nettie. Okay, so, and they say if he does not comply, he will not make it off the prison grounds before he's arrested again. And they included, he had to inform Chris, Susan's daughter, of where the body could be. So Susan Alamo in her casket was anonymously turned into a funeral home. And with that, Tony is released.
So we still don't know where he had her.
No.
But she was returned. Or something was returned.
Somebody. We still have to work on that unison thing.
Yeah.
So, trigger warning for sexual abuse of minors. Skip forward about a minute if needed. As soon as he's released, he began the process of marrying his underage victims. And the marriage, quote unquote, marriage process was about 30 seconds or less. And then the marriage was consummated. He did not tolerate any of his victims expressing that he was hurting them. One of the girls said on the documentary that they made it through by thinking, quote, when this is over, I'm going to go play outside.
Oh my gosh, that's how little they were.
Oh, sad. That is so sad.
Tony did these ugly things saying it is what God wanted. And how did the parents of these kids allow this, you may ask? They thought it was the right thing to do. They thought they were serving God, as twisted as that might be.
No, God does not want your young daughter to have sex with a gross 60-year-old man.
No.
He does not.
No.
In no situation.
Ever.
None, ever, ever.
Ever, ever, ever.
Not what God wants.
So, former members started to get online and formed groups of support. One source was called FactNet, Fight Against Coercive Tactics Network, and former members of the Alamo cult started to post the truth about what happened, the beatings, the grooming, the underage wives. The underage wives started to be brought up, and that caught the eye of the FBI. So the, quote, wives of Tony Alamo were very unhappy when he married Desiree. She was 8 years old.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Amy Eddy was outspoken about it, and Tony did not like that. And Amy Eddy spent a lot of time in the House of Scorn, which is a separate house which you would be locked inside.
Was Amy the one that wrote him the letter? Okay. All right.
Yep.
Okay.
And so he recorded his thoughts on women, which just in general were really disgusting, very misogynistic. The women must submit, women must smile, women must whatever. And Tony had CCTV in the house under the guise of he's security, but he's really just monitoring everybody. And some members, this is how isolated these girls were. Some members did not even know that he had underage wives. Like, that is how isolated those young girls are. So in 2006, Amy Eddy, at 22 years old, and she was married to him at 14, she leaves. She takes a bus to find her father in Oklahoma. And Desiree, married at 8, and she's now 15, a few months after Amy leaves, Desiree flees in the middle of the night. She gets away.
Good, Desiree. Oh, can you imagine? Her whole childhood just gone.
Taken.
8.
Taken from her. Ex-members informed the authorities that some of Tony's wives had escaped. So this is when a legal, due to CSAM, is like being brought against Tony. They're gathering evidence, but he has not been arrested yet. Amy, at the time, she was still terrified. She didn't want to testify, but Desiree testifies thinking of her little sister who is still in the cult. Yes. Desiree identified other wives and also said that Alamo, and she informed them that Alamo would take Polaroid photos of them in like sexual situations. And so one of Tony's underage victims went on the record saying that he took her across state lines and raped her. With this evidence, authorities prepared to raid Alamo's compound. So this is September 20th, 2008. This cult started in the 70s, 2008. Utilizing the FBI SWAT team, they raid Tony's house. And at the raid, there were boxes of ovulation tests. In a drawer in Alamo's bedroom, multiple wedding rings. A van of children driven by a member was stopped from going over state lines. Children put into foster care. But parents who promised to leave the church were allowed to keep their kids. And there were parents who would not make that promise.
Oh my gosh. You know what though? I'm glad that those kids were taken and put in foster care. It's got to be better.
Yeah.
Like if your parents are so brainwashed in this cult that they would let you, like Carol, that they would let you be beaten within an inch of your life or let you marry a man in his 60s when you're a child and think that it's okay and think that it's somehow blessed.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. I mean.
Yep, you're right. So Tony's on the run again. And he would call in news stations talking about how it's okay to marry a girl going through puberty. And finally, in Flagstaff, Arizona, Alamo is arrested. The FBI gathered the witnesses, wives, victims of beatings, witnesses of beatings, former members. Some of the victim wives of Tony had their own parents calling them false accusers. Desiree, she was 8, testifying at the age of 16. Her parents called her a liar.
Oh, they're the worst. I mean, Tony's the worst, but they're the second worst.
Awful.
Tony is found guilty on 10 counts of interstate transportation of a minor for sex, and he is sentenced to 175 years.
Still not enough.
Not a million. A million still wouldn't be enough.
Today's years.
In 2012, Tony is interviewed. He is unhinged. He laughed and talked about beating anyone that would try and remove him from his church. He says, quote, "Let me out of here and I'll do the same thing. I'm a dangerous dude, man." Just unrepentant.
Oh, I just want him so badly to get beaten in prison over and over and over again.
So this church still has some followers today. And some of the wives still stay together.
Is it still called the Alamo cult?
I believe it's the Alamo Foundation.
Oh, they don't call it the Alamo cult?
Usually cults don't call themselves cults, but my cult is called Haley's Cult. Do whatever you want as long as you don't hurt anybody. It's a very concise name.
And are we supposed to report to you or anything?
No, only if you want to.
Sweet.
You can check in with me if you like. And there was a time when Tony believed he would not die, but Tony died in 2017 in prison. And to quote one of the investigators, Tony was a dumb thug who got lucky.
Because, he's the worst. Oh, he's awful. How did he die? I hope it was beaten to death.
Oh, didn't look into it. Probably.
Hope so.
With the Board of Education.
I hope so.
Alamo Christian Ministries is what it's called now, and they are still recruiting. So people who are hopeless and vulnerable will always be susceptible to these kinds of traps. I myself find myself very grateful I didn't find myself in a cult in my 20s.
Yeah.
And something crazy like...
Who's heading the Alamo cult now?
Who cares? Don't join them.
Oh, I won't. I won't. I want to know, though, who's heading it.
I believe it's just former members, some of his former wives are
Carol?
still hanging out. Ugh, fuck Carol.
Exactly.
You dumb woman.
Listen, Carol, if it's you, I'm coming for you, Carol. Yes.
And that is the cult of the Alamo Christian Foundation. Sisters, thank you for listening. And
Wow.
listeners out there, thank you for listening. And I love you.
Great job.
Join my
Haley.
cult.
What a psycho
Thanks.
story.
That was
Yeah.
really good.
Hate that guy.
Good job, Hey.
Yeah.
Thank
Nice
you.
job.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Again, we are the Spooky Darlings. Please, if you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and take a minute and leave us a 5-star rating. Also, if you have any experiences, anything to do with cults, anything spooky, anything creepy, we would love to hear it. But especially if you have had an experience being recruited by the Alamo cult or another cult, or maybe even growing up in one, we'd love to hear it. Email us at thespookydarlings@gmail.com. And you can also look us up on our socials, where we will have some pictures that go along with this episode at The Spooky Darlings Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. All right. Thanks again for listening.
Start a cult.
Join Haley's cult. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Bye. 5 stars.
Before we disappear into the shadows, don't forget, we're still sending out vinyl stickers. Leave us a rating and review and email us proof to thespookydarlings@gmail.com along with your mailing address, and we'll send you some spooky snail mail while supplies last. And if your heart is still mourning that tote bag, may we gently tempt your way toward our merch store at thespookydarlings.printful.me. Treat yourself. You deserve it. Thanks for listening. And as always, stay spooky.